Man, real pretend farming is hard. Well, time to knock one off the old bucket list. Let's go relax with some virtual farming instead, shall we? I remember my first run-in with Harvest Moon 64. It was in Nintendo Power. It usually has a cover. But anyway, the article in the Nintendo Power magazine showcased the ability to have all 4 seasons, and that people can live out their daily lives without interruptions. It also showcased what you can do around the town. Hey look, Winback! Do you guys remember that game? Because I don't. And if you happen to watch the Harvest Moon episode of Digital Gaming, you would know that this is the creator's closest interpretation of what he originally wanted to do with the franchise. So let's see why I'm so nostalgic for this little gem. The story of the game is simple, and not that important in the grand scheme of things. You can actually bypass a chunk of narrative by skipping the opening title sequence. But for the show, I'll tell you what it's all about. Your character Jack, or if you prefer Jeff, Greg, or even Ass Fat, arrives for your grandfather's funeral in Flowerbud Village, and the whole town is in mourning. You decide to stay at the farm and work there. Also, if the farm doesn't turn a profit in 3 years, the farm will be demolished and the land sold. So there you go, basically your goal and story is to be a good farmer. After 3 years, you get an ending to the game, and depending on how successful you were, who you married, and how you upgraded the farm, you can get several different endings, which adds a nice bit of replay value in there. You can still continue playing the game after the 3 years come to an end. Just take a look at 6 years into the game, where I run the world's most successful dirt farm that subsides on profits from dog and horse races and wild berries and minerals I find in the wilderness. Obviously, the main crux of the game is the farming aspect, and boy, the game does not disappoint on that front. You can grow a variety of fruits and vegetables across the 4 seasons, with certain ones only being available during certain seasons. However, you can't grow anything in winter unless you have purchased the greenhouse upgrade, so you want to make sure to save up for that. You are also allowed to own a variety of animals, such as sheep, cows, and chickens, and sell their wool, milk, and eggs respectively for some more cash. And, depending on how healthy they are, the quality they produce of each item will go up. What? My cow died? Oh, that sucks. You also get a pet dog and a pet horse, which you can enter in races. And just like your livestock, the healthier your horse and dog are, the better they will do in said races. But I wouldn't do that unless you want to muscle in on my dirt farm strategy. Ahem! Outside of your farm, there's still a lot to do. There's a village with shops, and a bakery, a church, a bar where you can get super drunk, and a town square. There's a vineyard, an animal farm, a beach, and even an entire mountain wilderness to explore, complete with little gnome creatures known as harvest sprites. The game is also chock full of side quests, such as helping build a bridge, or completing an album or recipe book, and participating and competing in festivals that occur during the year in the town square. Oh, god damn it! Another one? Okay, I'm not really that good at taking care of the animals. The biggest side quest and other major sticking point to the game are the relationships. And you can win the affection, and marry, and have a kid with one of 5 lovely ladies in the game. There's Ellie, who runs the bakery, Potpourri, who is in the flower shop, Anne, who's part of the animal farm, Karen, who's kind of an alcoholic, or Maria, the town's librarian. Depending on who you choose, different people might stay or leave the town permanently. However, it doesn't affect your story. No! Chicken dinner! Chicken dinner. Now, if you can believe it, there was another Harvest Moon game released later that exact same year for the PlayStation. This one was called Back to Nature. Features the same cast of characters and the same core gameplay as the 64 version, but there are a couple noticeable differences. So let's pop this in and check it out and see why it's so different. You start out this game the same way. You pick a name for yourself and for your farm, and before you know it, you're off to fan favorite Harvest Moon location Mineral Town. Now there's one thing I should... wait, oh. It's loading. Weird, okay, guess we have to wait. Now there's one thing that should be very obvious right out of the gate. The graphics. Unlike Harvest Moon 64, where everything was pre-rendered and had a fuzzy look to it, almost everything except the characters and items are polygons. They look really nice and make everything seem really big and expansive. However, the paths you can walk on have been considerably cut down for this installment. With B2N, the control is definitely not as fluid as it is with the Nintendo joystick. Using the PlayStation D-pad felt very constrained, and when turning it to analog, the controls were very awkward. This was especially awkward as I got stuck in people numerous times trying to talk to them, a problem that was not in the 64 version. Just let me get off the I can't move! Oh, come on! I just want to exit! The other thing I noticed pretty quick, which is a nice change from the 64 version, is there is a clock always present on the screen. And you can actually see the characters move around town and act out their daily lives. This helps a lot when you need to plan to be somewhere. Speaking of characters' daily lives, let's talk about story for a second. If you like the fact that you could choose not to experience a story in 64, don't worry. You're beaten to death with story in B2N. Remember when you were little and neglected by your guardians? Or your busy grandfather? Remember that little girl you played with in the forest? Could you find my sister for me? Please? Please, date my daughter! Wait, Jeff? Hey, don't drag me into this! Oh, hold up. There's a mysterious man who looks like a walking stereotype lurking around town. Better clear that up first! When can I farm? Of course, another strange difference is the rucksack. B2N features your beginning rucksack with only 2 spaces for tools and 2 spaces for items, plus whatever you are holding at the moment. And you have to upgrade the rucksack to get 8 spaces each. While in Harvest Moon 64, you just start out with an 8-space pack. You can also upgrade your tools as well. However, unlike the Nintendo version that just upgrades them the more you use them, here you have to pay a hefty price, along with some needed material for the blacksmith to upgrade them. Well, anyway, let's get to farming. Let's get some seeds, clear the field, and plant some game loading. Fuck!